It's May 2nd, 2011. Two stealth helicopters slice through the inky blackness. They are traveling towards Abbottabad, Pakistan. Aboard are 24 highly trained Navy SEALs. Their target is none other than the mastermind behind the horrific September 11th attacks, Osama bin Laden. The mission is classified as top secret. It's known only to the highest echelons of the U.S. government. After a decade of relentless searching, the world's most wanted man has finally been located. The operation is structured around three main, perilous steps. First, they must land completely undetected. Second, they must breach the fortified compound. And finally, they must eliminate or capture the target. However, bin Laden is acutely aware of every threat lurking around him. Consequently, his building is heavily guarded. Towering walls, 12 feet high, encircle the entire complex. These walls are constructed of solid concrete, reinforced with sharp barbed wire. The main structure is a formidable 3-story building. Every single window is blacked out with heavy curtains. The balconies feature privacy walls and shades. They are so high that high-altitude drones cannot see inside. The SEALs are essentially going in blind, creating a massive tactical challenge. After 90 minutes of flying across the imposing Hindu Kush mountains, the compound is now in sight. Their immediate challenge is to land without being detected, but they face a huge problem. With only 18 minutes remaining to the target, the White House had deliberately withheld information from the Pakistani government. There was a deep worry that bin Laden could be tipped off if any information leaked. If spotted, the SEAL team would be treated as hostile forces and engaged immediately. To make matters worse and more dangerous, less than a mile away from the compound is a Pakistani military academy. That academy is heavily armed and capable of a rapid response. Just one loud noise could alert the entire sector. That is precisely why this audacious plan was crafted with such meticulous care. It's a masterpiece designed by some of the world's greatest tactical minds. First, they must fly extremely low on their approach to the compound. This drastically *** decreases the chance of being tagged by Pakistani radar ***, and is a vital component of the entire operation. Upon arrival, one helicopter is designated to hover directly over the roof. This maneuver enables the SEALs to fast rope down rapidly. They plan to breach the building from above, aiming to take the residents entirely by surprise. The second helicopter is tasked with deploying another team. That team will assault the front of the main building, ensuring the attack is conducted from multiple angles. This is intended to prevent anyone inside from attempting to escape the perimeter. Finally, 3 additional helicopters are waiting on standby, ready to be deployed immediately should backup or an emergency arise. As the men sit in the helicopters, President Obama observes the unfolding drama from the White House Situation Room. Tension fills the room as the minutes tick down. Despite 8 months of meticulous and thorough planning, they overlooked one critical, fatal detail. The first helicopter descends to drop the SEALs onto the compound's roof. While attempting to hold a steady hover, the pilot tragically loses control. The aircraft nosedives into the central courtyard. The tail of the aircraft shatters into 2 large pieces. Witnessing this catastrophe, the second helicopter reacts swiftly, changing its descent path. It safely lands in the open field just outside the compound. Luckily, not a single passenger or crew member is injured. The SEALs quietly assemble at the critical points of entry. They are unsure if the crash has already alerted everyone inside. The real test is about to begin, as the noise of the downed helicopter has already drawn unwanted attention. While on the ground, the extreme self-sufficiency of the complex becomes evident. It's what allowed Osama bin Laden to minimize all contact with the outside world for so long. A greenhouse is situated. It is located to the northeast. Here, fresh vegetables are grown. Nearby are a couple of animals raised for meat. Both resources significantly reduce the number of trips to grocery stores, which could have led to exposure. In the same area, piles of trash are routinely burnt on-site. This is done instead of relying on local rubbish collectors, a clever security precaution. The CIA had never observed bin Laden entering or leaving the building over the years. This allowed him to remain completely undetected with his family for over 5 years. That was until now, when the veil of secrecy was finally lifted. After last being officially cited in 2001, it took the CIA 9 long, arduous years to finally locate bin Laden. Their persistence was finally paying off. One SEAL team is tasked with breaching the gate that leads to the guest house. Multiple SEAL groups position themselves around the various entrance points on the ground floor. The final team is positioned outside the compound. Their job is to ensure the neighbors can be controlled if they wake up to the commotion. 3 SEALs successfully breach the entrance of the guest house. They enter and immediately spot a man holding an AK-47 in a ready stance. They radio back to the rest of the team. The guest house is cleared. 3 are dead on the scene. One of the deceased is Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. This man was bin Laden's trusted messenger. He was also one of his closest confidants. He was the man who unknowingly gave away their location to intelligence agencies. Many captured followers would frequently mention his alias during interrogations. After finally discovering his true identity, the CIA tracked his whereabouts relentlessly. This led them directly to this compound in the city of Abbot and, coincidentally, to bin Laden's secret hiding place. This was a massive intelligence victory. But of all places, why would bin Laden choose to hide in Pakistan? With a heavy American occupation in Afghanistan, remaining there would have been too risky and nearly suicidal. Pakistan is a neighboring country. This made it simple for him to slip across the border undetected. At the same time, the proximity to his group allowed couriers to easily report progress and activities without having to travel too far. Back on the ground, Step 2 of the mission begins. They are now breaching the inside of the main compound. The SEALs at the southern entrance carefully unlock the door. They enter the first floor, which is where the family typically spends their free time. The first room is a typical sitting room. It features floor-level couches decorated with abstract floral patterns. The place is grungy and worn down. It's a far cry from what one might expect of a house in this affluent and isolated area. Opposite the kitchen is a room that serves as a makeshift classroom. Here, the many children of the house are homeschooled in Arabic. In the shadows, a man quickly crosses the corridor. He leans out the doorway, and the SEALs fire. They quickly push into the room. Inside, another man desperately reaches out to grab a rifle. That threat is quickly eliminated. Still operating with high alertness, as other armed house members might be on the first floor, the SEALs spread out. They systematically clear each room, but no one else is present. The SEALs have made it inside, but a solid metal door stands between them and the second floor. It is far too strong for their standard charges to break through. High-power explosives would be effective. However, the resulting massive noise would undoubtedly jeopardize the entire mission. Instead, they deploy precision breaching charges. This involves a small but highly focused blast, intended to neutralize the lock without drawing excessive attention. They need another way in. The SEALs withdraw. They radio the all clear for the first level, but the mission is far from over. Getting to the second floor poses a complex and potentially deadly challenge. Only 6 minutes remain to the target. The second SEAL team landed outside has now arrived at the front of the compound. They see the entrance to the second floor. It features a staircase and a security gate. Both need to be opened by force. After executing the charge, the team cautiously ascends the stairs leading to the second floor. However, they hear footsteps above. Looking down is an individual wearing a white t-shirt. He is curious about the commotion. He is instantly neutralized. It is Osama bin Laden's son Khalid. The team sees inside the compound's second floor for the first time, despite having no phones or internet for direct communication. This is where the residents keep themselves up to date about the events of the outside world. The control center for high-ranking group members consists of 3 large rooms. These rooms are filled with critical information. Each setup contains multiple computers, hard drives, and storage devices. They are full of secrets and ongoing operations. Bin Laden was clever in using a communication method that made him nearly untraceable to the CIA. He strictly avoided using online messages and direct electronic communication. Instead, he relied on a sophisticated courier system to maintain complete secrecy. He preferred writing handwritten letters to ensure absolute security. However, if he wanted to send messages over long distances, he would store them on a USB flash drive. A courier would then travel to a location far from the compound, and only then would they send the message. But relying on offline storage came with an inherent risk. The information had to be physically stored somewhere within the compound, and the team has just uncovered his colossal data stash. This massive collection of intelligence could be a game changer. It could help America fight the war against terrorism for years to come. But they cannot examine it now. First, each room must be cleared of any threats. Then, they can proceed to the third floor, completing the final and most critical step of the mission. Only 2 minutes remain to the target. 10 years ago, Osama bin Laden was trapped in the Tora Bora cave complex in northern Afghanistan. He was surrounded on all sides by U.S. and Afghan forces. With 1,000 of his men by his side, he faced relentless airstrikes and ground assaults. It was reported that he recorded a farewell message. convinced his capture or death was imminent. And yet, he miraculously escaped, whether it was through a hidden tunnel or with the aid of local tribes who colluded with him. He slipped through the grasp of U.S. forces in a spectacular fashion. The SEALs cannot let this happen again. This is their one and only chance to end a decade-long manhunt. Fail now, and he might disappear forever without a trace. The SEALs form a tight line. They quietly ascend the staircase. They reach the 3rd floor. It's pitch black. Even with modern night vision goggles, visibility is poor. They listen and wait patiently for any movement, no matter how small. Suddenly, they see a quick flicker of movement pass in front of them. A shot is fired, and they quickly move into the room, 5 seconds to the target. As they rush the room, they see 2 women. They are bin Laden's wives, in a state of shock and extreme panic. In one corner of the room, children are crying hysterically and curled up in fear. A tall male with a grayish beard is lying motionless on the floor. They found him, target eliminated. But the threat has not entirely ended. Another high-ranking member could quickly take his place. More importantly, the intelligence on the 2nd floor could be a monumental game-changer. The hard drives and other information could expose the entire terrorist organization, delivering a devastating second blow to his network. Suddenly, a troubling message crackles over the SEALs' radio. The nearby Pakistani military base has ordered fighter jets to take off for immediate action. They know something is happening. Time is racing against their lives. The team quickly starts putting bin Laden's body into a specialized bag. They need to bring it back to the base for DNA testing and official confirmation. The SEALs are confident it's him, although they cannot be absolutely sure, as very few clear images of bin Laden exist. The most publicized one was taken 14 years prior, back in 1997. Meanwhile, other team members are on the 2nd floor. They are securing as much intelligence as possible. This work must be completed before the Pakistani military arrives. They take everything of value, **** hard drives, laptops, and phones ***, with the clock relentlessly counting down. Final checks are made with caution. They ensure nothing critical is left behind. Before leaving, the crash-landed helicopter is completely destroyed with explosives. This is done to prevent its state-of-the-art technology from falling into enemy hands. Another backup helicopter approaches from the back. The team prepares for immediate extraction. The entire operation went off perfectly. Not a single SEAL was wounded or killed. This makes it one of the most precise and successful missions the United States has ever conducted in its history. This was the operation that killed Osama bin Laden. As President Obama announced bin Laden's death to the world, his burial was already secretly underway. To prevent his grave from becoming a shrine or a place of worship for extremists, the decision was made against giving him a formal grave on land. Instead, his body was carefully wrapped in a white shroud. It was placed into a weighted bag, and it was lowered deep into the sea. The intelligence from the compound's hard drives proved invaluable to the counterterrorism effort. This was alongside unexpected finds, like the video games Super Mario Bros. And Counter-Strike. The drives contained around 97,000 documents. These took years to analyze and decode. The information helped expose the inner workings of how his terrorist group operated. It also revealed their future plans. It was around 3 a.m. in Pakistan when the army chief was finally told the details of the raid. It was reported that their nearby forces only arrived at the scene after the SEALs had long departed. In the days and weeks after the raid, the compound would be visited by Pakistani intelligence agencies, locals, journalists, and explorers. 9 months after the operation, local authorities demolished the compound. This was done to prevent it from becoming a tourist attraction or a memorial site. Today, all that is left is an empty